Anyone who has watched even a single episode of MLP will have a hard time getting that opening theme out of their heads. You can tell that the song was made with this expectation in mind, and really some of the best theme songs out there are supposed to stay in your heads for weeks at a time. But then I got this question from Critters Rule 247, so I have to ask, does the opening theme for MLP really complement the show? Putting aside the fact that it really is so very catchy, does the theme music fit with what the show is trying to convey? To be honest, I'm not really sure. On the one hand, it gives a very quick run-through of each of the main 6 and gives an attribute that describes each of them in turn. On the other hand, I don't know if these short little snippets would be the best way to describe all of these characters and the overall tone of the show. It was Lauren Faust's intention to create a show that kids and their parents could enjoy watching together, and the MLP staff have put together something really inspiring compared to most other cartoons of today. But when you are listening to that theme song, does that really convey a sense of family-friendly entertainment or just kid-friendly entertainment? The way this intro has been put together really doesn't give an impression of an inspiring and thought-provoking show. If I had run into this intro piece without any prior knowledge of the show itself, I would have immediately thought that this was another generation of MLP that was just like the older shows. I could have looked at the smooth animation and background pieces and thought that they looked pretty good for a kids show, but I wouldn't have had any interest in watching the actual show if all I saw was this intro piece. And even today, I have to admit that I still skip this song most every time I sit down and watch an episode. I do enjoy hearing fan renditions of this theme music and seeing what creative twists they can put on it. I even like the remix version that they played at the start of Equestria Girls, and I still smile when I hear other people singing this song to their heart's content. But I still wonder about whether the opening theme is complementing the show itself. It does a great job at creating the setting of the show and does help a little bit in introducing the characters, and like I said, the music is especially good at staying in your head for weeks after you first hear it. But even after all this time of watching MLP, I still had trouble deciding whether the opening theme conveys how much depth this show really has. But then again, what if that really is one of its strengths? I'm sure we can all remember our first experience of sitting down and watching this show, and back then perhaps there was a number of things that we saw that made us question why we were even giving it a chance, theme song included. But one of the greatest strengths of this show is getting the audience to enjoy some of the simpler things in life, to forget about your stress and frustrations for a little while and take part in something happy and cheerful, again, theme song included. While I may not sit through the theme song every time I watch the show, even I have to admit that, like the show itself, it creates this sense of cheerfulness in something that sounds so simple. While it may not convey much of the actual depth this show has, it does manage to raise your spirits in small and simple ways with its uplifting tone and its simple lyrics. Every time I watch this intro piece, it still reminds me that I am watching a show that was intended for children. It's the actual characters and episodes that remind me that this show can also appeal to adults. But even with that in mind, I have to admit that the opening intro does match some of the cheeriness and cuteness of the show itself. So in some ways, the opening theme does complement the show. Not in every way, but in some ways. And while I do hope that perhaps someday the MLP staff may consider trying out a new theme song for the show, something that may also convey the amount of depth and inspiration MLP has, this original intro will still make me smile when I hear the fan interpretations or see a group of bronies singing it to their heart's content. So what do you think about the intro song? Does it actually complement the show, or does it detract from it? Do you still listen to this theme song every time you are watching an episode? Or do you end up skipping it from time to time? I would like to hear your thoughts about the intro, and let us hope that the MLP staff can continue to find new ways to inspire and uplift in the future. I am DRWolf, and I look forward to hearing from you.